Even standing in line feels tense as hell. Everyone's burnt out. Everyone's jealous of something. Everyone's mad at life and taking it out on strangers. And honestly, it's getting obvious, real obvious. The energy is shifting and not in a good way. People are turning cold, quick.
Like a sense of respect towards other people. But it's like nowadays, people don't even care. Like, you know, we grew up and heard like the veil was getting thinner and stuff like that, but like, I ain't even know it could get this bad. Like, how much thinner is the veil gonna get? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is pure evil.
It's like when you meet new people nowadays, they no longer possess normal human emotions, and it's terrifying. I'm talking like passion, empathy, remorse. They do not care about anything that you're saying. They are in their own world. It's so hard for them to hold on a conversation. They're so robotic. Things have changed fast and drastically. Who agrees with me? It's actually really scary.
Another recession indicator that I have seen in the past since 2010 forward when I got into real estate, and this doesn't necessarily apply to real estate, it's how rude people become. People get desperate. They get a little desperate for money and they take their stresses out on you. I have been seeing just bad behaviors all over the board. Not necessarily from other agents, but just in professional spaces. I just think seeing people kind of unwind. I don't see people enjoying their hobbies as much. I don't see people talking about their hobbies as much. I don't see people really doing, like, all they do is just work, drive around, do side hustles, stay broke, stay miserable, and I think it's making a lot of people here in the United States very angry. And they're taking it out on each other. But give me your thoughts. Am I wrong? Am I
return? And like, I hate that I feel this way because it feels like I'm upset that I'm being a decent person. And that's like not it at all. It's the fact that it's never reciprocated by anyone in public. I understand the concept of like taking up space and you're allowed to be here. However, you still need to do it in a way that's respectful to other people. Like, why are we mean mugging it through the grocery store, pushing our way past people? When you need to pass by somebody, why are we not saying, excuse me? Why are we not saying, hey, can I sneak past you? Use your words. This applies to anywhere.
Stranger. And the more genuine you are, the more kind you are, the more real you are, is the more you will be targeted. The more you will be targeted.
People are different since that respiratory virus back in 2020. They're different. People are not the same. You can argue with me all day long if you want to. I don't care. I'm a nurse. I live through it. I work through it. People are not the same.
This is Isaiah 24, and I'll start at 8th. It says, the mirth of the tabrets cease, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp cease. Let me see real quick. NLT, Isaiah 24 and 8 says, the cheerful sound of the tambourines is stilled, the happy cries of celebrations are heard no more, the melodious chords of the harp are silent. Okay, and this is exactly what's going on, man. All right, the joyfulness is gone. All right, and the people stated, a lot of this just happened 4 years ago when they had that whole plan. I said pandemic. Okay, a lot of this started when they had the pandemic. Okay, about 4 years ago, right? Because that's when you couldn't watch. I think the Super Bowl was on, or the playoffs was on, and they had the bubble, so people couldn't really go and enjoy themselves. You couldn't go out for the ball drop. You couldn't do nothing. All right, you couldn't be on the streets unless it was unless it was out of necessity, right? And people became grumpy. People became negative, especially towards even in their own households. Okay, so it says the cheerful sound of the tambourines is still. Let's go back to the KJV. It says the cheerful sound of the tambourines is stilled, the happy cries of celebrations are heard no more. Oh, sorry. KJV, Isaiah 24:8. The mirth of the tabrets ceased, the noise of them that rejoice endeth. So that whole rejoicing did end, man. And ever since they had that, which that what that was a play. I get into that in a second. But that was a play that the elites ran a play on the so-called American civilians, American people. Okay, the mirth of the tabret ceased, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, and Slakia, it's the whole world. Actually, it was a play that affected the whole world. But really, you American people, it really put they got you right where they want you. In other words, all right. So it says, "The mirth of the tabret ceased, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp cease." And it's been a whole lot of downhill from there, because you had people losing their homes, losing their apartments because they couldn't afford the back pay. They couldn't pay their rent. They couldn't pay their mortgage, car note, whatever it is. All right. You had to pay after for a certain time. You were allowed to live rent free. Now you had some people that were wise enough to continue paying their rent if they were able to, but then you had some people who used that as an excuse not to pay their rent and end up losing their apartment. A lot of people lost their apartments behind that whole that whole play they ran 4 years ago. It says they should not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. That you going if you drink, it's gonna be out of sorrow. You're not gonna be drinking out of mirth and being joyful. You be drinking because you want to drink your sorrows away, right? And that's what's going on with the people today. You know, they're drinking their sorrows away. They're trying to do things to keep their spirits up. Okay, like if you go into the gym, instead of going to the gym, you know, for to uh, to to be healthy and whatnot, you go into the using the gym as a way to cope, using the gym as therapy, right? It says there is a cry for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Right. And that cry for wine in the streets is understanding. The wine is going into the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Bible. Okay. And ultimately, um, people are looking for understanding at this point. But ultimately, what's going to happen is the men of the Lord ain't going to be out there on the highways and byways forever. Okay, this word is not going to be on the internet. There's going to be like a block on this word. They're gonna make certain laws to prevent you from hearing the gospel, right? And then really people are going to be really after the truth. Okay, so there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And we've seen that now, man. We've seen that especially with these American people, because they really felt like America couldn't be touched. What's going on overseas is overseas, but here it is now. America's looking like a third world country. You know, it's high inflation. Um, it's high unemployment. It's um um the minimum wage is low, right? People aren't making enough money to survive. All right, so what's happening is people are beginning to lose their minds. All right, no one has time to help you. They can't even help themselves. All right, so that's where the people become cold at. They become negative, evil, because they only out for themselves, which is basically a survival state. All right. Now I was saying that's a play that your elites, your governments, that they ran on you. All right. Now let me get something for you real quick through the spirit. This is Google. I googled auto ab chaos. Okay, it says is a Latin phrase that means order out of chaos. This is something that the elites believe until this day. This is something that they do quite often. All right, I believe they did this also for 9/11. All right, it says it is famously used as a traditional motto of the third degrees of the ancient and accepted Scottish rite. Um, it says Scottish rite of Freemasonry. Okay, so it goes back to those secret societies, right, where they do all sorts of wicked ceremonies and witchcraft. All right, and they do things secretly that the people might not catch on to. So it's called order ab order order out of chaos, where they create the chaos, right, and then make it so bad that people beg them for any sort of solution. Okay, so when they present that solution, the people are grateful, even if it means having nothing and being happy. Okay, because that's ultimately what the play is. You know, this man is bringing in his new world order. He's bringing in his enterprise. That he's bringing in the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, and he's doing it any means necessary. He does not care who dies. Okay, or who. The main thing is to have um to have himself in rulership. Okay, so yeah, that whole thing, and it's coming out now. All right, you got this guy pleading the fifth, right? Scriptures say, "Let your nay be nay, your yea be yea." Okay, but that's another lesson. Let's get back to this now. Matthews 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, and iniquity is sin upon sin. All right, our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, along with the rest of these heathens, are sinning, man. Committing iniquity. Okay, and why is that? Because Esau is in rulership. Let's see this. Let's see this real quick in the NLT. Matthew 24:12. I'm reading the NLT. So it says, sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. Right. So how do you get rid of sin? You have to cut it off. If someone commits adultery, they have to be put to death. Right? If someone commits murder, they have to be put to death. Okay? If someone is a homosexual or a sodomite, they have to be put to death. Okay, but these things aren't cut off. These things are allowed, they're permitted. All right. Well, Esau Edom, he's a murderer from the beginning. Okay, and he's in rulership. And guess what? There's not a this man is unable to do righteousness. Okay, this man is unable to do good. So of course the people are gonna suffer. Okay, because he's not gonna look out for um he's not gonna look out for your well being. He's not gonna deal with the people justly. Okay, so ultimately through his rulership, the love of many will wax cold because it's a unfair um it's a it's a it's basically the way of living is unfair to the average person. you know so hold on. So Isaiah 19:16, it says, in that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Okay. Now I read earlier through the spirit. the people shall wax um the people shall wax cold, right? Now it's gonna get to a point to where once the famine breaks out, and there will be a famine, okay? Once the famine breaks out, people are gonna be committing all sorts of crimes, okay? So like breaking and entering, murdering, okay? And it's gonna be for the lack of bread, you know? And that's part of the chaos that's gonna be created in order to bring in martial law, right? And to for to bring in their their new world order, right? That order out of chaos that I spoke about earlier, right? In that day shall the Egypt be like unto women. Egypt being America. America is that spiritual Egypt, right? The men will be like women, and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he maketh over it. And the Lord's gonna bring all sorts of plagues upon this place, which I mentioned: famine, right? All sorts of death, diseases. Okay, the sword's gonna come upon this place, right? There's gonna be wars, civil wars. It's gonna be drafts. Okay, you know, and ultimately, this place is gonna be destroyed, right? But what we're watching now is the beginning stages, right? And it's a beautiful thing because it's prophetic. We know Esau is gonna make his play, and that's why we're here to endure it. Now, if the dollar collapse, we got to deal with it. If the gas prices go up, we got to deal with it. Okay, that's fine because it has to get worse before it gets better. Okay, but the elect knows that Yahweh Shimi Shai is going to deliver. Okay, Yahweh Shimi Shai is going to deliver the elect. Okay, but 2/3 of our people, in that day you're gonna be shaken, you're gonna be scared. Okay, you're gonna be in doubt, you're gonna be in distress, right? Because you ain't gonna know what to do next. You're not gonna understand what to do next, and you're gonna be looking for the men of the Lord. But the Lord's gonna the Lord's gonna take his men off the streets. Okay, it says and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord, which he shaketh over over it. So this is Job 23. Okay, I can end it here. It says when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast a slack. Is Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come up upon him. Okay, let's get the tools real quick, and let's get that word wicked. Aimal. Okay, and it says here labor, workman. Okay, sufferer. Okay, now who are the laborers toiling? Yeah, your average Joe, man. Your average Joe. Okay, and why are the laborers gonna come upon this man? Especially, you're gonna have these Edomites or so-called white people, right? With living living lovely, man. Living in high class apartments, living in high class neighborhoods, okay? And you're gonna have regular average average people that's gonna take their thing, that's gonna invade and take their belongings. Okay. It says in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Yeah, in the fullness of your sufficiency, going into you bringing in your new world order, your enterprise. This is what you've been toiling for in wickedness. Okay, so when you've accomplished your goals, all right, which yeah, you're going to implement the chip and everything for a period of time. for a small period of time. I mean, real small. Cause as soon as you do that, okay, as soon as that chip is implemented, you know, and it's proven that the men of GMS throwing the apostles was right all along. As soon as you implement that chip, all right, and people take it, people bow down to that MOTB, the mark of the beast, right? The you gonna be in Esau's gonna be in straits after that. It says there shall it says when he's about to fill his belly, it's like it says in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, right? And in straits meaning what? These nations gonna come against you, all right, and ultimately they're gonna overthrow you and shoot you down with thermonuclear missiles. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? And that's going into that's going into uh something different when it says I mal, meaning the labor is gonna come upon you, right? They got something called pressure from above, pressure from beneath. Okay, so when the elites want to push something for their agenda upon the people push back by way of protesting, okay, um, by way of demonstrating demonstrations and whatnot. All right, so pressure from above, pressure from beneath, but it's going to get so bad that people aren't going to even care about the authority. Okay, and they're gonna and it's gonna be these laborers that's gonna be doing the most damage. All right, why? Because they're gonna have families. You know, even now with this whole what's coming out now with the what happened 4 years ago, people are dropping dead. Still, even till this day, people losing their families to this man's um agenda. Okay, so what do you think is gonna happen? People are gonna lose their minds eventually. There's gonna be so much that they could take. Okay, people, families are dying. Their loved ones are dying. People losing their jobs. They're sickly. They have sick. They have their body is becoming sick with all sorts of diseases that they don't know how they caught it. They can't explain how they caught it. Okay, so it's gonna be only so much. You know, that's one thing, but then now financially, there's gonna be so many burdens that people can't take it, and they're gonna lose their minds, man. They ain't gonna listen to the kings and their princes and whatnot, as the scriptures say. It says, when the heat is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain upon him while he is eating. So that's it. When you about to fill your belly, when you about to enjoy your kingdom, reap your rewards for your wickedness. All right, the Lord's gonna really let you reap rewards, which is gonna be those nuclear missiles. All right, because you're not gonna get away with it. All right, you're basically in a trick bag. It's only so far Esau could get. You know, his time is short. The Lord is edifying. I want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Hakwadash, the Maansi Apostles, Bishop Elsgrave Millstone, and Citation Akim pushing his word, and also saying honesty. Shalom.